everybody. Welcome. This is June Smith and Art in June, Delicacies of Society. We are kicking off our fall and winter series. And I am so very excited because, you guys, we talk about art. We talk about painters and we talk about writers and we talk about dancers. And so what I thought would be really interesting is to really begin to talk about art with a different perspective. So when I thought about that, I figured there was this one person who is an expert in teaching writing, the gift of writing. And I thought, I gotta get her on the show. Gotta pick her brain to really understand. As we're talking about art and mental health, I really wanted to be able to really introduce Pam Haji, because I feel she is a phenomenal woman in terms of just being able to get folks excited about the art of writing, right? So here we go. So help me welcome our first guest for the fall and winter series, Pam Haji.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. How are you?
I'm great.
Good. So you heard I was talking about writing, right? And I interviewed writers and dancers and stuff. And then something said, okay, but it takes a special person to teach somebody how to write.
Yeah. And it's even arguable whether you can teach someone how to write.
Okay.
But I guess, you know what, you're right about the creativity, because if you're going to be asking someone to write, you better be creative in coming up with the assignments and coming up with the inspiration.
Correct.
Because they need inspiration. So, yeah, you're right. It is a creative task.
And so here's my question to you. How do you really engage folks in writing? Like, what do you think are some of the things you want to think about as you're actually putting together a lesson or a conversation around the gift? I'm putting on my fan. I'm a little hot, guys.
It depends on the level of student I have. I teach in a community college.
Okay.
So we tend to have students who come from high schools who haven't had much writing, and quite frankly, who have tried to avoid it. And then, if you actually ask in that classroom, who in here likes to write, you'll find several people keep journals, they do write, they write poetry, they love to read poetry, they're online reading fan fiction, they're doing things that are really new to me. So what I do is I get them to help inspire the rest.
Okay, that makes sense. So help me understand, are you a writer? Do you write?
I write only scholarly, pedantic, boring stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I've tried to write creative writing, and I could probably do it if I put my mind to it, but honestly, it's not that way with me.
Interesting.
I'm a good reader.
I was just going to say, so what do you read?
I read everything. And see, this is what I tell my students. I know what a good piece of writing looks like, and I know why it's good. I do.
Okay.
I can't do it myself necessarily.
Really?
Well, it's a craft.
Yeah,
I'd have to practice. I'd have to really be totally devoted to it.
Yeah.
So maybe in retirement, maybe the bug will hit me.
Is there such a thing? So, oh wow, that's interesting. So tell me something. I would think that teaching writing, there's a creativity to that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there is. For one thing, you have to kind of imagine what the students don't know. What do they not know? What are they not getting? And then you have to figure out, okay, if I didn't know that, how would I want it explained to me? How would I want to understand it? And then that's where the creativity comes in. You have to figure out how to present stuff to them, and the larger the gap between our ages
Right.
gets,
Right.
the more challenging that is, because I've been teaching for more than 30 years.
Yeah.
And 30 years ago, I could say read, and that was no big deal.
Right.
But now, you say read, and
Read what?
it's not.
Read there are many things to read.
Yeah.
And I'm going to only read what I like.
Well, I assign reading, and over the years, we have assigned less and less reading because they want to do it less and less. So, yeah, they don't want to read. And when they do read or write, they're in a hurry. They want everything to be done quick.
Microwave.
Yep. So, yeah, you have to be creative in figuring out how to get their attention, and then find out, like, sometimes they just don't understand punctuation. Well, how am I going to make that interesting? Hey,
Yeah.
have you figured out how to use commas yet?
Yeah.
So it gets creative.
But wait a minute. But Pam, I remember, I'm dating myself, guys, but I remember when we were growing up, it was, the cartoons on Saturday mornings, right? Conjunction,
Oh.
junction, what's your function? Remember that? And I mean, that to me taught me about, I'm a writer by trade, obviously, but that taught me about punctuation, hooking up words, phrases, and clauses. I still remember it to this day.
Yeah. I don't think they learn that anymore.
Yeah. No. Well, so would you say, so now I feel like, as we're talking about this, it kind of leads me into my whole conversation about balancing teaching the technical skills.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And, and still trying to foster a love for writing in the process.
Yeah.
So given the fact that you have to do that, at the end of a semester, do you find that you have more students who end up really, subscribing to writing, to wanting to write? Has it changed? Have you been able to see folks say, okay, you know what, I'm going to write more in my journal, or I'm going to attempt to do something a little bit different than I was doing before?
Yeah.
Have you noticed that?
I do. I hear it. I hear students tell me.
Interesting.
At the end of the semester, I have always hated writing. I've always been afraid of it. Writing to them is either correct or not correct.
Yeah.
And they are used to getting papers that are filled with red, and they don't understand what the red means. No one explains to them what's wrong. They just get that paper, put it in their backpack, and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I try to convey that, of course there's a right and wrong way to write, but it's like playing the guitar or any kind of musical instrument. You know the chords, the right way to do it. Once you do that, you can be really creative.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have some lessons that I do where I teach punctuation makes meaning. It's not just a bunch of little things on the page. It actually creates meaning, and then you can show how something means one thing without the comma, and then another thing with the comma.
With the comma, the
and
tone.
They're like, oh,
yeah,
okay,
the tone and the inflection changes, the voice.
Right.
That's
so
cool.
they do learn to appreciate the art of writing as something that they can possibly do, probably do, and they're going to have to anyway.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and they do tend to want some outlet, some creative outlet.
But that's innovative in and of itself, right? That's an innovative strategy that you're implementing, right? To get people to begin to think about at least having an interest in trying to be a better writer, right? And trying to improve. So when you have a diverse group of students, let's say, how do you convey the importance of communicating, right? Because especially if everybody English isn't everyone's first language,
Right.
right? Or from a cultural standpoint, there's certain things that you write, and then there's certain things that you kind of dismiss as, whatever. How do you address that?
Well, we talk a lot about audience. You have to know your audience when you're writing. And so an academic audience is one thing. And yes, you'll have to put the commas in the right place, and you'll have to be very clear. You'll have to use, very, simple but clear sentences.
Yeah.
Then there's another kind of audience. You may email someone at work, a colleague. What's your tone there? What's your voice there?
Right.
What do you want to convey to
Right.
them? And generally, the more diverse the class is, the more I rely on the students who like to write and who are more experienced at writing, and I will call on them and say, Elizabeth, what is it that you do when you're writing for a friend? You said you had a friend over in England, right? Yeah. You write emails to that friend. Yeah. Do you try to make them creative? In other words, I try to get them to solve the problem themselves with each other, because they prefer that. They prefer listening to each other.
Yeah, and that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because I guess it's kind of like when your parent says you should do whatever. If I say to my daughters, you really should think about going to the doctor about that cough, or you really should think about getting more sleep.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, right, whatever, right?
Absolutely.
Their friends tell them the same thing.
Yeah. Right.
And they're running. Right. They're off to the races. So, it's always funny. It's, and then I guess even when we think about it now, the art of listening, right? And how that filters communication, amongst yourselves versus, higher ups, your manager, whatever, parent, elder. How do you engage technology into this whole communication?
Oh, that's the part that's getting really fun.
Yeah.
Because it's starting to be amazing. I read a lot of the literature written for teachers, professional development literature. And it turns out that instead of assigning a 5 to 7 page research paper for the end of the semester in Composition 101, you can assign a podcast, you can assign a video essay, you can assign an infographic. There are all the different kinds of media nowadays.
Right.
So in that sense, technology is helping to get more creative.
Yeah.
And then in another way that technology works for me is, are you familiar with free writing?
Yes.
Writing whatever comes to your mind.
Yes.
Okay. So I tell them we're going to do free writing. I'm going to time it. It's going to be 4 to 5 minutes. I'll give you the beginning of a sentence. Go. And so they're free writing. Everybody has their own laptop nowadays.
Right.
They're not on the school computers. So it's really nice because they're very comfortable. They're sitting comfortably. And then I say, okay, time. All right, anybody want to share? Some people do. And then I say, okay, we're going to finish that free write. We're going to go back to that, just pick up where you left off. Only this time, turn off the screen. You can't look. And they're like, but how can I? And I said, you can. So they start typing. And of course, the ones who can type are like this, but the ones who can't type are like this.
Yeah, yeah.
And they go for 4 minutes, but you can tell they really miss being able to see.
Isn't that something?
And then I say, okay, stop. Now, how did that feel? And they will say, pretty uncomfortable. And why? Because I couldn't see. I knew I was misspelling things, but I couldn't see to fix it. I said, yeah, the editor in you, which tells you you're doing it wrong.
Right.
We cut that out.
Right.
you're not doing it wrong. You're doing whatever.
Yeah,
It's going
the
from
freedom.
here to there.
Sure, the
And then
freedom.
they're like, oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I like
the
that.
freedom
Some-
of it all.
Yeah, it's a free ride.
Yeah,
It's supposed to
that's
make
why
you free.
exactly. But
So-
you know, that to me is the reason why I wanted to have a conversation with you, because I don't think people think about art the way that I'm probably myself and many other people. I think of art, it's in every aspect of our daily living.
Yeah.
It's in every aspect of it. And so to me, it's like oxygen. I say it all the time, but I really do mean that, because we're talking about you teaching writing, right?
Mm-hmm.
When we think about art, we say, oh, it's just writing. But no, teaching is an art. How you teach is an art. How creative you can be teaching art is an art. And so I feel like that's the thing that I want people to kind of gauge and understand. There are very many different levels of artistry.
Right.
Right? So when you're talking about free writing, think about what you just said. Even if somebody doesn't write at all,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that you're making them create a tapestry of sorts in their minds and on paper and on the screen is magical.
It is. It becomes magical, especially if, and I tell them, look at your writing, and what do you see? Do you see anything there that surprised you? Most of them say, no, not really. I say, do you see anything there that you'd like to talk more about? You didn't know it was in here. Now it's out there, and you'd actually like to take up from there and start talking more about it. And that definitely. So there's the germ of possibly a piece of writing.
Right.
And a way to express themselves. I've had this happen where somebody was angry in their free write, and they decided, oh, I didn't realize I was so angry about this. I'm going to explore this more.
There you go.
And then they wrote this beautiful essay about, and the audience was her parents. She wanted her parents to treat her more like an adult. And she wrote this beautiful essay asking them to.
Cathartic.
So, yeah.
Right? So speaking of that, leads me down another path of conversation. How, I believe that writing is therapy, right? And I also know that there's a correlation between artistry and mental wellness. Talk to me a little bit about if you are witnessing that in some of the writing of the students that you're seeing, who might be having challenges around their mental wellness and are not really necessarily open enough or confident enough to talk about it, but there will definitely be sprinklings of thoughts in their work. Are you noticing that? Do you notice that now more than ever, or is that just kind of something that you see but kind of don't really dig into as much?
If I see the one thing that we see the most nowadays, I guess, is depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
And it's getting to the point where you can see it on the faces. You don't even have to wait till you find their writing. And I have, you can see it in their writing. It's just a give up. I give up. Here's what, you assigned me this, here's something, I don't even know what I'm doing here in this school. And I have been known to ask someone, do you want to go talk to somebody about this? We have therapists at school. Their office is way in the back of Beyond.
Yeah.
So if you want, I'll take you there. And I have taken them to the office and helped them make an appointment.
Yeah.
And they have told me later, thank you, that was helpful. So we have a lot of that now after COVID. After COVID,
yeah. Wow.
But as far as other mental issues, we are under a sort of edict at the school to, if you notice this kind of thing, you do need to reach out and get help for the student.
If you see something, say something. Yeah. thank you for that, because I think I was having a conversation with someone the other day, and there was I don't want to say a dismissal, but I felt like there was a shyness about wanting to even address the fact that they felt responsible to even deal with somebody who might be having a child. You know what I mean? They didn't feel like they wanted to get involved in, and I thought,
were they in a school environment?
Yeah, a learning environment, not necessarily a teacher, but maybe like an aide, or an assistant. And I thought to myself, but if you see that that child is having an issue, so the short of it was 10-year-old student, woman, works in the school as like maybe an office manager, something like that, operations, whatever. And the student has an older sibling, and the student said to me, I'm going to wait for my brother to walk home with him. And I said, okay, fine, because it gets dark earlier, right? And so he's waiting around, and it's getting dark. And I say to him, go check to see where your brother is, because, everybody else in the classroom that we were working in is gone. I was doing helping some students with entrepreneurship. And he said, okay. So we walked to go get, to find out where his brother is, and his brother had left.
Oh. And
so I said to him, how are you going to get home? In my mind, I'm like, the mom in me says, how are you going to get home? You're walking by yourself. How far do you live? Now I don't want to take it upon myself to put him in my car, because I don't know him. I don't know what the rules are around the school. So I don't want to put myself in hot water.
Yeah.
But the woman said, oh, he does this all the time. And, he'll be fine. And the way she said it, I think, was disturbing to me, because I kind of could tell that he was a little apprehensive in walking home by himself, but it didn't seem like it mattered to her in the same way that it mattered to me. And so I think being able to ascertain apprehension or a little bit of, concern is now the thing that we're tasked with now, even more so than ever before. So thank you for doing that, because she says, oh, he does this all the time, but in my mind I'm going, but if he does this all the time, do you think there's something you can do to help him not do this all the time? You know what I mean? Because I'm only coming to you guys once a week. So if he's doing this the rest of the week,
it's frightening.
Come on. And it's getting darker, and it's like 5:30.
He's 10.
He's 10 years old.
See, I deal with adults.
And you deal, exactly.
They're 18 and older, and there's a certain way that I have to be able to talk to them. I can't ask them personal questions.
Right.
So yeah, with a 10-year-old, I would definitely say, we got to figure this out.
Exactly.
You can't be walking around.
So I was a little bit concerned about that, but I
Maybe
feel
she's just used to that approach.
I think that's the thing for me as to why we do the work that we're doing, right? Why we're amplifying. I know we talk about art, but in my mind, art is, like I said, art is everything, right? And it fits in spaces and places in ways that people don't even think about. Yes. So it's in our everyday daily life. And with that, you fuse into issues and challenges that have nothing to do with art, or so we think, right? But mental wellness is critically important. And I say that because I want people to know, if this isn't right, the rest of your body doesn't function the same.
Right.
You may think it does, but it really doesn't.
Right.
So I think I want to say thank you for being the person who is devoted to at least creating in the space of communication.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And once you can enter that space and say, I notice that you're not doing your work, and you seem to be kind of down. But you're risking somebody saying, "What are you talking about?
Right.
Get away from me."
Right.
But I've risked it several times because what are they going to do? Fire me?
Right.
No.
Right.
We have the infrastructure
Yeah.
at the school
Yeah.
that will support the kid.
Right. In the event.
So I can ask him, Are you okay?
Are you okay? Yeah.
I mean, and there are sometimes girl students who wear sunglasses because they're hiding a bruise.
A bruise, yeah.
And
wow.
I can ask about that.
Yeah.
Do you need some help?
Yeah.
I don't mind. But I think if I were in my 20s or 30s, I'd probably be pretty scared.
Yeah.
To do that.
Interesting.
But
okay.
Yeah. Art is everything. Art is. It's the way we get our bearings in the world. And I asked the dean of NJIT. What school was he? He was the dean of the engineering school or something. Mm-hmm. Nice young man. He came and gave us a presentation at Bergen. And he was talking about what they do at NJIT. If you come over to our college, this is what you can expect. And we have all these great majors in technology.
Right.
So I went up to him afterwards and said, I've been teaching English the same way for about 30 years. And I was wondering, according to what you need from students for technology majors, is there anything we should be doing differently? I mean, has it changed? I mean, is there anything you wish that we would do differently in the English department?
Right.
And he said, no, I want you to keep doing exactly what you've been doing, because the study of engineering is designing things, and you're designing things for human beings. If you don't know the human being, how can you design for them? You have to know the human being's fears, hopes, dreams, loves, envies, jealousy, all of that stuff is important.
That's right.
You've got to keep teaching Shakespeare.
Holistic.
You've got to keep teaching literature. You've got to keep teaching what it is to be a human being in this world.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
No, that's crazy.
Will you please come to my classes every single time? It was so brilliant.
No, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think people think about that in that way. And that to me is what makes a really good teacher and an excellent teacher, right? The teachers that you remember years later. Yeah. I can still remember my first English teacher who, I was in advanced English classes, but I remember he was very strict, Mr. Bennett, but he was very thorough. And to this, he's still alive, and I see him, and he still wears a bow tie, and he's still very, the same way he was when we were students. Or Miss Clyburn, who was, a very gentle, but firm, but very gentle and loving, very kind of motherly, but she was going to hold you accountable. Right. But she was an excellent teacher.
I love the ones who have the high expectations.
Yeah.
It's hard to have that balance of high expectations. Oh, I expect you to do it.
Right.
But I care about it.
Exactly.
And if you can get that across to the students, they will rise to the occasion.
I remember, and I remember coming back to the school years later and running into those teachers, in different times, but saying to them, it's because of you that I study journalism. Yeah. And wanted to be a writer. And so learning literature, the way you're speaking of it, is so it's imperative, because it does give you a great balance and foundation in terms of how you show up in the world, right?
Yes.
And I think that's important.
Yes.
I think that's really important.
Especially our students nowadays think that they're going to college to get a career. And so just teach me what I need to know to be an engineer or a
Right.
cybersecurity
Right.
specialist. No, we have the humanities,
Yeah.
and it's not just old people like me who appreciate the
Yeah.
humanities. Believe it or not, your employer,
Absolutely.
we hear from the employers
Absolutely.
what we want you to teach these people, and we're like, yeah, what do you want us to teach? Well, they need to know how to get along with each other,
Yeah.
work with each other,
Yeah.
collaborate. They need to know how to accept differences and cultural differences, you know, without batting an eye.
That's right.
This comes from the humanities.
Yeah.
You don't get this from
Yeah.
A plus B equals
The art of communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That, and the employers are absolutely fiercely insistent that this is super important to us.
I believe it. I truly do, and I thank you for that. So, as we're talking about humanities, you know, I'm going to do a little rapid fire with you.
Okay.
Because I feel like, you know, we start talking and the time goes by so quickly,
Yeah.
and before you know it, it's like, oh my God, we're up almost on an hour. So, what was the last book you read?
Oh, I read the biography of Angela Merkel, the Chancellor.
Oh,
of
really?
Germany. Beautiful biography.
Oh,
Really,
okay.
it was such a fast read.
Okay.
I read it in 2 days because the writer was able to just put this story together like it was like a thriller.
Yeah.
Because as the leader of a country in Europe, she had all these challenges.
German,
You know,
yeah.
Oh my God, here comes
Yeah.
Putin. Oh.
Yeah.
So I just read through it
That's cool.
like a thriller.
Really? How long did it take you to read?
2 days.
Really?
Yes. I just ran through it.
Good for
Ran
you.
through it. There, you know, a lot of books are not that fast, and the one before that was of a novel by a French woman who wrote about her family during the Holocaust.
Wow. Okay.
So, and that was a page turner.
So do you find that you're reading in the evening? Do you get up early in the morning and read? Like, what do you do? When do you read? Or when you find, or weekends maybe?
Weekends.
Weekends, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. What's the one thing that you can't live without?
Oh.
Excuse me.
I would say it's about intellectual stimulation. So books.
Okay.
Lately,
That makes sense.
It's been lectures on YouTube.
Listen.
Classes.
Yeah.
I like that stuff.
Yeah.
So anything that'll keep, you know, I have a lot of questions. How are we going to do this in the world? How are we going to do that?
Curious mind.
Yeah.
Inquisitive.
So there are people who've thought about it and they put stuff together
Yeah.
about it.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I just like to think about it. I think if my mind goes, I'll be really bummed out.
Okay.
You know.
I hear you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
I can live without my legs, maybe my arms, even maybe my eyes. But,
No.
you know, don't. But
Your
just,
mind.
I just don't want my mind.
Yeah, the mind thing is, to me, I just kind of want all my senses, though, Pam. I want to be able to move. You know, yeah, maybe. That's interesting. That's a good question. I that's a question I don't know if I can answer yet. But yeah, I definitely need my mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so describe yourself in 3 words.
Passionate,
Uh-huh.
curious, and is it okay if I use a word that other people have used about me?
Go ahead.
Nurturing.
Nurturing. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I
They
could
say that about
I
me.
could believe that.
But I thought
Do you not like that?
No, it's okay, but it makes me sound like nice lady.
But you are a nice lady.
Well, I want to be that firm teacher in the classroom. I don't want to be the one with the little apron on talking about, you know, Did you do your homework?
Do you want a cookie?
Yeah. I imagine myself to be a firm, not drill sergeant, but, exacting, like the teachers you were talking about.
Yeah, but I think you probably are that.
I hope so.
I think you probably are the teacher that is, nurturing, but keeping them and making them accountable.
And then the curiosity comes for them too. I'm interested in them. Their lives are fascinating.
But that's the thing. That's the beauty of it to me, right? That's to me, I see that as being authentic in who you are, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think I could go into the classroom
Exactly.
if I wasn't actually interested in them.
Right.
And they are truly, like,
I
I'm
think that's
an
critical.
anthropologist taking notes. Oh, the young people today seem to not date anymore.
Yeah, that's a look. That's a whole nother interview. That's so interesting to me.
Yeah.
Wow. Coffee or tea?
Coffee in the morning and tea in the afternoon.
Okay, both. And if you could have a superpower, any superpower, what do you think that would be?
To make everybody love each other and get along. Is that such a thing? I'm thinking Maya Angelou. She has this ability to just make everything feel like
welcomed.
we can do that.
Yeah, inclusive.
I can do that.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about that kind of thing. If I'm nurturing and I have a superpower, how about making everyone care about each other? Which I think they already do, but we just aren't getting the incentive to show it.
And so I say I am glad that we have had this conversation. I am glad that that's a superpower you want to have, because I think you do it and you emanate that in your own way, and I think that's a beautiful thing. So continue doing that, because I see we have a visitor that's coming to hang out.
Yeah.
See? Because she knows when it's time to say, see you soon.
Wow.
So everybody, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
I
you.
want to thank you, Miss Pam, for
Thank you, June.
hanging out. And so until next time, be well. Talk soon. Bye-bye. Hi.